Okay, what's up? So, I missed another cold water video. And I guess it's just a matter of excuses, but I've been honestly a little busy. But I am still trying to stretch every night if I can. I've also missed stretching, and that's really annoying that I continue to miss things like that. But I already warmed up my first set tonight, so I thought I would just record one of these real quick before bed, and then just upload that. So ideally, I'm trying to do a pike, side split, front splits, and then also my my half lotus stretch every night, and I'll try to do at least 2 sets every night, because like I said, I have some flexibility goals by the end of the year, and I truly think that I could probably get them if I continue to actually do this every night. And I think obviously there's going to be fluctuations with my consistency, just like my cold water videos, which started off as every day and then turned into 3 times a week, and then this week has been twice. But trying to learn to just be okay with things not being perfect all the time. So let me do a quick hold for my pike, and then I'll keep talking as I continue the stretches and stuff. So hold for, kind of varies with my stretches. This is one that I'm gonna hold for about 30 seconds in each set that I do. Okay. So part of accepting that things aren't going to be perfect all the time is I'm learning to, with all of these stretches, just be okay with where I'm at and to not push myself further just for the sake of a good looking picture or for the sake of every day being a little bit further than the last, because I guess in the same way that I won't be able to do cold water videos every day I want to, and sometimes even be unable to stretch every day I want to, or to lift or to train. Nothing is linear and constant, and it's always going to be up and down and back and forth and all around. So I think being okay with that is going to help me, and just going to be a healthy thing in general. And there's going to be days where my stretches just aren't as far because I'm like physically just not there. And I think if anything, it's way healthier to just go through the process rather than force a process and end up like injuring myself or getting to the point where I hate it. And if anything, it'll just be a real journey of what it took to get to the full splits that I want if I ever get there. And I think that would be cool to see. And yeah, I don't know. Part of me is also just coming to accept that being overly harsh on myself for not hitting the goals that I want in just the right ways I mean, it's basically the same thing as just accepting that nothing is perfect and it can't be perfect every time. But I think that's what usually leads to me feeling burnt out, is when I set out to do something and it starts off great, and then it gets to the point where it starts to go downhill. And because I think that's just the nature of progression and being human, is that it's not going to be a constant straight line. I think when that line begins to go down again, I see it, and then it disappoints me so heavily that I just give up and that I stop. And ironically, that is what keeps me from getting here, is I stop when it gets here. But had I kept going and had I kept stretching years ago, when I started to really want better flexibility, I'd probably have all the splits that I want by now, because I tried starting to stretch consistently in 2016. And then I reached the point where I stopped for a couple days and I lost some flexibility, and then I just gave up because I was like, well, backwards progression again. This isn't going to get any better. And so I gave up. And I'm sure had I just dealt with the ups and downs by 2024, I'm sure that I would have had front splits, side splits, a good pike, probably better shoulder flexibility, better dorsiflexion. But that part of me that sees a halt in progress and is such a perfectionist that it ultimately keeps me from progressing, is the part of me that I need to let go of. And the fact that I've missed my cold water videos, like I was talking about, and that I always start off so-and-so, and then something gets in the way or something happens, and it gets in my head. I need to let go of that. And I think if I can do that this year, it will really help me form a healthier relationship with believing in myself, because as I've said before, that's the biggest roadblock I have right now. And even though I'm starting to, I think deep down have a really hard time making that leap, and feeling comfortable and not intimidated in something as simple as just believing in myself. And part of that is having goals and seeing the fluctuation and cutting it off, and then just having handfuls and handfuls of examples of times I've given up before I've reached my goal. So I think if I can break through that and just accept the ups and downs, and if not reach my goal by the end of the year, at least get closer and survive the turbulence of the ups and downs, I think that will really help me begin to feel less afraid to just believe in myself. Oof. On another note, I'm really trying to see or talk to somebody this month about my hips, because I'm 90% sure my IT band is so tight that it's the pinch that I feel in my side splits, and it's the reason why this is so bad. It's the reason why a number of things are bad and tight and locked up. But I'm really trying to fix whatever restrictions I have in my hips, because it's been basically my entire athletic career of having uncomfortably tight hips, and it restricts me in a lot of ways, and it's really annoying. And if I can this month at least start to address that somehow in a way I haven't before, I think that would just be a nice road to get on for the end of the year goals that I have. And same thing with my dorsiflexion. I would really like to be able to sit in a full squat and not be completely full effort trying to stay up and keep from falling back. Oh. Okay, I think that's a good enough set of those. So what I mean with dorsiflexion is this. So my calf down to my foot, I have to keep my heel off the ground in order to stay up here. And I have a couple of friends who can keep their feet flat and sit comfortably, but when I do, this angle of my foot to my leg is almost 90 degrees. And my friends and a number of people who I am striving to be like, they can get their knees over their toes, which I think is also just a generally healthy human thing to have. And in order to compensate, I have to take my heel off the ground about this much. So I want to get to the point where I guess essentially this is this much longer and stretchier. I also think it has to do with my foot and how tight my tendons and my muscles in my feet are. Because it's probably the same thing as when you pull your fingers back, you feel it tight in here. I'm assuming it's probably the same when you pull your toes back. It gets tight in the bottom of your foot, and that translates up through here. But generally, I'm tired of sitting here, and then when I put my heels down, I just tip over. And it's really annoying because it hinders my range when I land jumps, because I can't land like this. And if I do, my knees can't go any further because of how tight this is. And jumps that probably could be in range if I was more flexible are out of range because I land and then I roll off. And it's really annoying. And if anything, it also feels a little dangerous to have dorsiflexion that tight. Because if I land something wrong and all of my force comes down like this, I'm probably at risk of tearing something because it's so tight already. So that's another thing I'm trying to fix. Okay. Do my front splits and then I think that's it. My hip flexors, I don't think there's as much of a problem. I think they're just generally tight. My dorsiflexion, my hips, I think are abnormally tight and something I really, really want to fix. My hip flexors, I'm not too stressed about, and my quads, because that's something I feel I just don't address and is kind of just left neglected. But I think with enough stretching, I should be able to sort this out. Whereas the dorsiflexion and hip problem, I think I need some kind of special program or help with. But this, I want to fix this because this translates to me arching my back more than I need to. Because if my back is straight, it's about here. But eventually I want a full front split, and then obviously I'd want to be sitting up, and I guess this is fine. But for things like, what am I thinking of? There's like a movement where I have to arch my back. I think it's, I don't know, I can't think of what it is, but it's either my shoulders or my quads and my hip flexors that I have to compensate by arching my back because this isn't flexible enough, or maybe it's my shoulders, I don't know. And my shoulders are also a problem because I can't open them. Oh, that's probably what it is. Can't open my shoulders without arching my back. And this angle looks like this. I should be able to open like that. But it's so tight that it's really tough. And it's because I swing so much and I never stretch. I never stretch my arms and my shoulders. That I'm sure it's just gotten tight over the last 10 years. And I mean, this too, like I can't really grab my hands behind my back like this. And that's annoying and also just concerning because if I land bad backwards for some fucking reason, that's just gonna suck. So I guess if anything, I'm just generally trying to be better. But I mean, I am happy with the fact that I am, I don't know, stretching at all. Oh. And man, it's been 16 minutes now, but this feels like the first kind of real the first real stretching video with some actual content to it and not just blabbering on and doing like a stretch or two. Overall, I think I kind of want these videos to be like when I'm in water and I'm just talking about something that's stands out to me that day. And just as like a second journal to my days, since I'm not going to be posting the cold water every day. And also I think it would just be cool to document my stretching progress and my flexibility progress because it's something I've been thinking about since 2016, so it'd be actually cool to see a list of progression that looks like this and be okay with it. And also just go back and hear myself ramble on about whatever I was thinking about that day. Yeah, I think that's about it. But I am happy with the growth and the expansion of the things that I'm doing with this channel. I think I have a lot of things that I'm really excited to start doing consistently that I've been keeping stuck in my head forever. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll have all these things that I just did except way better, and I'm just gonna be fully accepting and willing to take whatever journey that looks like. And I think that's about it. So before I keep rambling on for another 16 fucking minutes, I'll see you next time and have a good night. Peace.